would you say, if you had to list your top 5 seminal figures in the field of critical theory,
Wow.
critical pedagogy? And I know you mentioned the Frankfurt School earlier, where it sort of had its roots there. Would you be able to talk about maybe
living or dead?
Well, I think let's look at the big 5, or you're allowed to go more.
Okay, the big 5. I would say Antonia Gramsci would be the first one. Kind of a important figure pretty well anywhere except North America, which is interesting, and maybe in other English countries. But when you go to Italy, certainly one knows who Gramsci is. And Gramsci was an amazing theorist who understood disenfranchisement, marginalization, and analyzed the power of Mussolini's prisons and his armies, and was a very strong voice in fighting power. And he was the person who basically came up with the notion of hegemony, how power is wielded with consent, which of course we're all living in right now in this day and age. We don't see a lot of arms and armies where most of us live, but we do see a lot of consent to things that no one seems to want. So I would say Gramsci. Of course, Paulo Freire, that's understandable. He did not coin the term critical pedagogy, but he opened our eyes into understanding the importance of alternative ways of critiquing and making pedagogy better. And I do think he was incredible. In my mind, I would say Henry Giroux. Henry's book, Theory and Resistance, in 1983 was seminal. The notion of teachers becoming public intellectuals, the understanding that pedagogy itself can be an act of resistance, not of indoctrination again, but an act of making a difference in the world. And I've done a huge amount of work with Henry. He has been responsible in my life for tremendous eye-opening ways of seeing the world, as a friend, as a colleague, and as a mentor. And certainly after Henry would be my late partner, Joe Kinchelow. I think Joe was kind of just a little, not I would say a generation below Henry, but maybe 5 years behind. But how both Henry's work and Paulo's work changed Joe's way of seeing the world, opening up as a junior high school teacher who went back to school to get his doctorate, into exactly that aha moment as to what teaching can be and how it can be alive. And I would say Joe, in the 20 years I was with him and in the work he did, was instrumental in really making a difference in teacher research and educational research in my mind, by bringing in very important ways of seeing the world that many people still use. I think that's 3 people, that's 4 people. I would like to say a woman. I would like to say a non-white person. I can think of many, but maybe not as seminal people. So I don't want to tokenize someone. I would say maybe Deborah Britzman. Deborah's way of working with the notion of critical pedagogy, social justice, and psychoanalysis is pretty phenomenal. Looking at feminist ways of seeing the world and at alternative ways of seeing the world, in bringing in an intellectual quality that is rarely heard by many North Americans, in my opinion. So that would be my 5. The word seminal, I know Paula wouldn't like that word. And I have had the opportunity to spend time with him several times, both in the United States and in Brazil. And he would never, he first of all didn't believe in a Freirean anything. And he didn't want followers, and he absolutely did not want a curriculum. And so anyone who would understand his work and this entire concept that these people have contributed to would understand that there is no one way to do critical pedagogy. There is not an itinerary, there is not a curriculum, there is not a module that I can give you, there is not a taxonomy. That's not critical pedagogy. That is everything critical pedagogy is not. But he would often just talk about the fear that this stuff would become kind of put into binders with little how-to books, and that's not what it was. And so I have to be very careful in and making sure people understand that I can't give you a tablet or I can't give you a, here, take this, read it, and you'll be fine in the morning. That's not what it is. It's a way of life. It's a way of seeing the world. It's a very large group of people involved in yourself. It's about activism. It's about community engagement. It's a very big thing, critical pedagogy.
And you're very humble there, not including yourself in the...
I'm not even on the fifth list.
In the top 5, Shirley.